I'm back. Hello, friends. Welcome back to season 2 of the Savvy Startup podcast. I'm your host, Irene Moore, and I'm so excited to be back in this space talking to you one-on-one. What's been really interesting is that we were looking at the analytics for season 1. And, I like to find out which guests you guys resonate with more. I like to know which topics you guys want more of. And what was really interesting and a huge surprise to me was that the best performing episodes from season 1 were actually the solo episodes with me right in the very beginning. So, I have a lot of gratitude to share with you guys for just showing the podcast some love, even in this time where I've been taking a lovely little expat to move country and work on my wellness brand Light Garden, which I'll talk about a little bit in this. And I'm really excited to talk about today's topic because in this episode, we're going to be talking all about embracing your evolution. And it feels like such a, not just a great time of year, but such a great moment to be having this conversation because so many people I speak to, clients, friends, peers in, the industry are having these conversations and these thoughts around how they want to evolve in their business and how they want to maybe shift away, try something completely different, maybe add in a new string to their bow. I mean, I was definitely feeling that calling when I decided to launch my wellness brand. And I wanted to have an honest conversation with you if you are in that position where you're not quite sure if now is the right time to evolve in your business. I want to share a little bit with you about my experiences of feeling a little bit misaligned with my business, what I thought it meant and what it actually meant and how I navigated that. I also want to have a conversation around the difference between sort of evolving and pivoting because they're actually quite different. And of course, I want to always support you with practical tips on how you can start to self-inquire about if this is the right time to evolve or pivot in your business. So let's dive in. So knowing when the right time to pivot in your business is a huge question because it really is ultimately down to a combination of raw data, like is it working? And how aligned and happy you feel about your business. I think a lot of us use the word alignment a lot without really diving into what that means. And for me, it's about being able to show up in your authentic power and serve in a way that feels really empowering to you as well as the people that you serve. That is when true alignment comes in. And when it's truly aligned, it feels a lot easier than when something just feels like a drag, like a struggle. And so, that's something I want you to think about, like how easy is your business feeling right now? Now, it might be that you're having a rough time or sales are a bit slow. That's kind of normal given the state of the economy right now, given that people are being a bit more particular. But I want you to think about not the rocky days that you might have here and there, but generally, are you having several days where you're feeling completely out of alignment, or does it feel like a blip? I want to share a little bit about my experience of feeling out of alignment with my business. I think just before we moved, I was doing a lot. To be honest, I was doing the most. You guys know that I'm a human design geek. And as a manifesting generator, it's very natural for me to have several projects going at the time. It's one of my gifts. But it also can lead to serious burnout because it's knowing which projects actually need the most energy and which projects can just be fun around the sides. That's one of the biggest challenges that a lot of manifesting generators have. If you're a manifesting generator, please let me know. I like to meet other Manny gens. But where it started to feel misaligned for me was that I always started this community. For me, Savvy was always an opportunity to serve at a really accessible level. And I think we're very lucky in that we have an agency that services global brands. We have that high ticket offering that, you know, ensures that my team get paid, ensures that I get paid, ensures that we can live the way that we want to live. And for me, Savvy was always meant to be something that felt more tangible, that felt more, not tangible, more accessible to those who maybe are not in a position to hire a high ticket coach, or maybe want to work with me one-on-one, but they're not quite there yet. But this is the closest way we can work together until they're in that position. And, you know, my dream is always to want to get you to the point where you can outsource to our agency. So what happened was that I really started feeling through, I think, a little bit of, you know, overwhelm, feeling like, actually, how am I showing up in the way that I want to? Do I enjoy selling high ticket packages to individuals when I can be putting so much more of my energy and focus into my global brands in my agency and creating something that's really accessible to serve at the scale that I want? It's why you know, we've opened up this membership, this sales and marketing membership, to allow individuals, e-commerce owners, to be able to master their own sales and marketing at an accessible price point in a really flexible way through a monthly membership. And so just before we left, I started feeling, I guess, a little bit of out of alignment with how I was building my business and, you know, modeling my business based on incredible, you know, mentors that I was working with, based on what other people were telling me. And for someone who's quite focused, you know, that was a surprise to me that it didn't feel as aligned as I thought it would to build in a specific way. It also opened me up to different ideas. Like, I always knew that I wanted to build a brand. I always knew that, you know, after working with brands for 20 years, I always knew that I wanted to be able to build my own brand, launch my own brand. And for me, wellness is such a genuine passion of mine, because it has such a huge impact on things like my anxiety, stress levels, and CBD had played such a big role in that. So creating that time and carving that time to launch a brand that really educated and championed CBD wellness, but also raised awareness around high functioning anxiety. You know, people like perhaps you and I, who are building businesses and who are looking after loved ones, but still feel like at times they are crumbling behind the scenes and struggling. So to be able to launch a brand like that was really important to me, and I knew it needed my 100% focus. At the time, it felt a little bit like one or the other, right? And this is why I want to bring it back to you right now. Evolution is not the same as pivoting, right? And equally, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to hang on to something that's making you really miserable, right? If it isn't working for you. But I do want you to understand that sometimes a break from something can feel just as healing and nurturing and help you understand how you want to show up in that business versus starting something new because, you know, we're bored. You know, that's one of the things I really want you to think about. My battery is about to die, so I'm gonna quickly plug this in. Should have done this before. You can tell I've been out the game for a while, can't you? Okay. So let's talk a little bit about evolution versus pivoting, because I think this is a really interesting one. For me, and a way to help you sort of think about what's my next step, where's my next direction, is, for me, an evolution can look something like shifting the way that you do things already, right? So it may be that you used to offer one-on-one coaching and now you want to evolve into group coaching. You know, an example for us is in our agency, we've also always offered full service marketing, but now our focus is so much more on paid traffic, specifically with YouTube, because this is where we're seeing a lot of traction. This is where we're seeing, especially with brands, where there's a big opportunity to really show up with intent. And, you know, with this podcast and with this community, you know, evolving from it being a group program that's high ticket to being something more accessible, like a membership, that's an evolution, right? A pivot would be me saying, okay, I'm going to down tools on this and I'm only going to focus on Light Garden, right? Because it's a completely different industry. It's a completely different approach to business. You know, launching a product-based business is completely different to running a service-based business. And, you know, it requires you to kind of show up differently as well. So there's the whole identity piece that comes with that, that can be quite challenging if that's a complete pivot that you want to make. So my question to you is, you know, are you looking to completely down tools on what it is that you're doing already and try something completely new? Therefore, is it a pivot that you're planning to make in your business? Or are you looking to just evolve it? Maybe you haven't fallen out of love with your business and actually you just need to find a better way of running it that suits you. So that's really a question I want to invite you to journal on. I've shared a little bit about how evolution is happening in my business. I am definitely, in terms of the agency, much more focused on growing that. The team has been growing. The brands that we're working with are really exciting, and also just bringing that opportunity for people in this time to be able to experiment with paid traffic in a way that controls their cash flow, their revenue a little bit more is really exciting for us. You know, YouTube has played a huge role in my business, so to be able to offer that insight, not just from how to grow and build your business organically, but to be able to offer that guidance and done for you services in a more specific and tailored way in our agency is really exciting. And then, as I mentioned before, the other evolution is making Savvy much more accessible, like I wanted it to be right in the beginning. So it feels like it's going backwards, but actually it is an evolution because it's set up in a way now that supports how I want to live now that I'm out here in the Caribbean. So some questions to ask yourself: if you are in this place of struggling to embrace evolution, if you are in this place of not being sure if what you're looking for is to evolve, or if you are actually looking for a pivot, I wanted to share some really practical questions that you can maybe journal on, and some self-inquiry that you can do around this. The first question, and you might be like, what, Irene, what are you talking about? But the first question is, how tired are you right now? Are you exhausted? Are you feeling burnt out? Are you just feeling like you are not in a position to even make a decision? And the reason why I say this is because from my experience and from the conversations I have with a lot of my clients is when you're super tired and run down and burnt out, it can be really difficult to show up powerfully as a founder. And I wish more people talked about this. This is why I'm so passionate about raising awareness about high functioning anxiety, because it is such an important and I think a growing issue that we need to address. You know, so ask yourself, like, am I just tired right now? Am I super exhausted? Where can I make room for more rest and more stillness before I make any decisions about my business? Okay, so that's the first question. The second question, and I think, again, this is something that, because of our agency background, it's so important to the work that we do, because essentially we are selling ideas, right? We are selling creative. And so one of the questions that I really want you to ask yourself is, how excited, how motivated, and how creative, how much play am I having around this business? You know, does it feel fun to me? Like, fun is such an underrated part of business. You know, if we just want to be miserable and just, you know, tick boxes, just stay in corporate life and let someone pay for your holidays, right? You know, you need to be enjoying it. I'm not saying that you're going to be having fun every minute of every day of your business, but it's really important that you enjoy your business as well. So ask yourself that question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited, motivated, and creative do I get to be in this business? There is no right way for you to build your business. You are the boss of your business. So if you are feeling stagnant and bored in parts of your business, it is down to you to think, okay, how can I inject more play into this? How can I make this more fun? It's a really powerful question, especially when you've taken the time to rest and you can make the decisions and get creative around, what do I want to bring into this to make it more enjoyable? And then my third question is, how am I, or when am I taking the time to be still? Not strategizing, not writing anything down, not planning, not brainstorming, just being still in this. And it sounds really strange, I'm telling you to sort of do nothing, but it's in that stillness that you're going to actually get the answers. It's in that stillness and listening to yourself that you're going to find the answers, from a grounded place and not from a place of everyone else's ideas. And this is the final point I really want to make on this. I shared at the top of this podcast that one of the biggest challenges that I had, and one of the reasons why I found myself deviating from my original intention with this community and with this podcast, with the Savvy podcast, with the Savvy community, was because I allowed myself to prioritize other people's opinions of me and what I should be doing and what I could do, versus trusting the intention that I had here, which was to create an equitable coaching business, an equitable coaching empire. That's what the intention was from the beginning, right? So my question to you is, where are you seeking external validation, right? Where are you giving away your power and your truth and your deep insight into what you truly want for your life and for your business for external validation because of the opinions of others? Now, I'm not saying don't listen to other people, but they should be either complementing your decisions or giving you an assessment if you ask for it. But I really want you to get comfortable, and something I'm going to really be talking a lot more in this podcast is how you can tap into intuitive leadership. The best decisions I have made have been when I have been silent. I haven't sought the opinions of lots of different people, and I just allowed myself to lead from my heart and less in my head. So that's a really powerful question I want you to ask, like, what areas of my business, and maybe even in your bigger life, are you seeking external validation? And where does that need to stop? So I always believe the best time to journal these kinds of things is outside, if you can get outside. I know it's super cold in the UK right now, where the majority of my listeners are. But even if you can't, try and do it after even just a 5-minute meditation, a 2-minute meditation where you have been still, where you've taken some deep breaths, and just allow yourself to just answer these questions really openly and honestly with no judgment of yourself or your past decisions. Okay, now I know a lot of you are thinking about in your business how you're going to ramp things up, how you're going to show up with authenticity, and how you want to make sure that you maintain your sales and marketing, or if you're shifting and deciding to go down that pivot route, how you're going to shift your messaging. And if that's something that you are thinking about, I'd love to invite you in for a 7-day free trial in our new membership, which is all about helping you master your sales and marketing. You can find out all about that in the show notes or in the description of this episode. And as always, I am just wishing you every success for the year ahead. I feel that there is, yes, some potentially challenging things that we can expect, which would be in line with the last few crazy years. But I also feel like there's some really powerful evolutions or pivots that might be coming our way, and I can't wait to support you through that in our membership. So head over to the show notes to find out more, head down to the description to find out more, grab your free trial, and I look forward to supporting you through that for the rest of the year. From my soul to yours, I wish you every success.